Hi, this is the Vedic Astrologer with the June 2015 reading for Vedic Scorpio. Okay, so Vedic Scorpios, the first card out for you this month is the Two of Wands in reverse. I feel like this tells me that you've been looking inward. And maybe for some of you, turning away from a situation that's stuck. For some of you, you could be turning towards new horizons, but be a little unsure whether those new horizons are actually going to be productive or going to be long-standing. You know, like you may be underway with something already even and be a little unsure about whether it's where you should be or what you really want to do, whether it's a kind of a growth place for you. But I feel like you're intent on it anyway, like you're trying to make it work. Because you feel like it's your responsibility in some way to make it work. So for some of you, you're staying bound to a person that you're not entirely sure about. And for some of you, it's a career path, job. Yeah, staying bound to some kind of situation that you're kind of like, well, I'm just going to go for it because I don't know what else to do right now. So, yeah. And for others of you, I feel like this may be working along the themes of the last couple of months where there's still an urge to kind of go back to an old situation and that you haven't been entirely able to let go, and that maybe somebody else hasn't entirely been able to let go of because they haven't heard the words yet that would release them from the situation. So I feel like for others of you, there's a focus on kind of saying those words or getting things out in the open so that you can kind of clear the air and get to like a happier place, a more fulfilled place within whatever the stalled issue has been. And for those of you that this is working, that you're kind of trying to stay with something that you're not sure about, I feel like you're trying to sort of investigate it and be like, okay, well, I see the pitfalls and whatever, but I accept them and I'm just going to make it turn out the way that I want it. I'm just going to be positive about it and it's going to turn out great. So in either case, I see some difficulty in fighting and struggle. Whether you're kind of going back or someone's coming back to resolve an issue with you, or whether you are pushing forward with something that you're not entirely sure about. It feels like if you're pushing forward with something, you are either going to be having internal doubts that maybe come from someone contacting you or you contacting someone that makes it seem like this, house that you've struggled to, this kind of house of cards that you've kind of struggled to build into the shape of the house of your dreams, is collapsing in on you a bit. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm definitely seeing two fairly different storylines here. One is kind of about charging ahead and trying to kind of blow through obstacles or doubts. And if that's the case, I think there will be plenty to blow through, because I feel like there's a lot of people involved in this situation with differing interests and needs. So it does seem like that, like it can be kind of righted, but it almost needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. Whatever sort of embroiled situation there is that you may be trying to just push ahead with. It needs your enthusiasm and your energy that I feel like you're willing to give it, but it needs it in sort of like a hands-on, practical way that is also caring for the interests and the needs of all the people involved. So you're not going to be able to kind of plow through it. You're going to have to build it. And that involves sort of getting on the ground level with everybody, like getting everybody on the same page, but more like on the same team. And that's kind of what's going to get you onto the right path. A path of family, really, is what it feels like. A path of connection, it feels like a quilt of like patching together different views, different strengths and weaknesses, and different, kinds of expression into like a whole of love, or of love, basically. And allow that to move forward in a way that is positive. So it feels like building rather than bulldozing is kind of what's needed there, if that's working in that way. And then for other people, I think this is going to work in a way that I feel like I've talked about before, where it's like you're going back to an old situation to try to free someone else from an attachment to you, free yourself from an attachment to them. And you feel like you've already kind of had a realization about like how this should work out and how it should be able to be resolved in a way that makes you friendly, but not friendly, but friendly kind of at a distance. Kind of like, let's be friends who don't talk. Okay, great. So I feel like if that is working this way for you this month, then there's going to be more in the situation than you're really quite seeing. And it could be vice versa, that someone's coming to you in that manner and there's more in the situation than they're seeing. In which case I feel like your sort of brave, bright vision for like just, again, like sort of bulldozing through this and kind of finishing it up and clearing yourself is going to kind of collapse because it requires more thought and more study. And for some reason, the direction of study, the train of thought that has led you to this contact or to this attempt at resolution is going to fail somehow. You need to kind of go back to the drawing board with that one. Yeah, it's almost like you've been focusing on, or you or someone else has been focusing on the outward effects of the situation rather than the internal emotional tumult that caused it. And so the need is for the emotional aspect of it to be addressed, not just the effects of the emotions. Yeah, there may just be like a down period in the month where you're trying to recoup you know, because it feels like you have energy to get things done and you want to move forward, you know, but it feels like you're being, you know, the universe is sort of resisting you a bit at that turn. And so you may need to just spend a little bit of time kind of pooping out, you know, and taking some time to to think about the way you'd like to move forward next. And I feel like if you're kind of taking that time, it may seem to someone that you don't care, or if someone is doing this to you, it may seem like they don't care. But it's really that their emotions are sort of let loose in a way, and that they're kind of brewing within them, and they're not quite sure, or you're not quite sure, just how to act just yet. So it's like you're kind of upholding your current position and trying to stay just steady. But there is like an emotional realization this month that kind of changes your approach to someone or something. And helps, I think, to make sense of some, either some messages you've been receiving, just kind of, you know, things that keep showing up in your world, or just some hunches you've had or something. Kind of, I feel like it's helping to make sense of some things that have been showing up for you. Or for that other person. And I feel like you may sort of try again with whoever, with a better sense of who you're kind of dealing with now. And this may or may not happen this month, honestly. But I feel like you or someone else may sort of try again to make an offer of peace and an offer of friendship to someone that you or they have been previously sort of misconceiving. Yeah, I feel like you are beginning to see someone's value more deeply. And for some of you, you're seeing someone's value. It doesn't always have to be like an equal situation of like, I've got a new boyfriend and I have this old boyfriend and now I value the old boyfriend and I want to get back with him. It could be like I've got this new boyfriend who I'm not so sure about, but I'm finally seeing that my old boyfriend was, you know, valuable in this way that is now shedding a new light on the new relationship. So it doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to go back and be like, oh, I need to be with that person, you know, so for some people, yes. But more that it changes, more that there's more value in someone than you had been seeing. And that they had more strength than you allowed, I think. Or vice versa, this could be happening to you. But it feels like there's already sort of like a future that's laid out. And this attention to the value, I think this is for some people. It doesn't stop you from going down this path, which for some of you is not the right path. It's really just another path, this path that we were talking about at the beginning that you're sort of committed to but not so sure about. It feels like for some people it really is just a repeat of a situation you've been in before, and you may be starting to grasp that a little bit this month as well. That it's just you learning. It's like if you didn't completely learn a lesson before, that you're doing this kind of the same situation over again so that you can learn that lesson. So there is the potential for freeing yourself from that cycle this month, though. It's like if you can recognize that it's like, hey, you know what, this is the same thing, then you can react differently this time, because I feel like this, whatever this is going to turn out the same way. So you can change your behavior, you can step away from it, you know, but it feels like there's a lot of potential for learning from your experience, your own personal experience this month, to be like, wait a minute, oh, I'm going down the same road, I can just let go, I don't even need to do that. And I feel like there's a lot of peace and serenity and hope for you in releasing old patterns. You may be a little afraid to release them just because they're kind of what you know, but it feels like there's some kind of endless loop that is stuck here that you can kind of take the needle off that record this month. And I think if you're able to do that, you're going to feel a lot of renewal. And just like kind of like master of your fate, you know? I feel like you may feel like, you know what, my feet are firmly on the ground, my emotions are flowing correctly, I feel just good, you know, and my intuition is working. So I think there's a lot of energy for renewal this month and for pattern breaking. But it's like big patterns, you know, like this is not something you've done like once or twice probably. This is something that is like a deep and maybe sort of mysterious pattern where you're like, but I don't see how it keeps working out, that like I'm in, even when I pick a completely different person, it seems like a completely different person, it ends up being the same relationship, you know? So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of room to kind of step away from that this month. Yeah, to kind of make a milestone, put an end to a certain kind of behavior. And that could be in small ways or big ways. For some people, it's like, you know, the same relationship, same job situation. For other people, it's like, you know what, like, I need to stop drinking, or I need to whatever. And it doesn't even have to be in like an alcoholic sense of I need to stop drinking, but just like my body can't really tolerate it, and like my health can't tolerate it right now. So it's more like, you know, it's just like it can be on all different levels of habit, of doing things that you enjoy at the time or that seem kind of fresh at the time, but that always kind of end you up in the same place, and that place is not so good. So yeah, you may have to, there may be a few eggs that get broken kind of in stepping away from whatever old patterns, but it seems like where that's leading is so much more positive. So you kind of have to have faith in that and trust that you're kind of being led along the right path by expunging your demons, by expunging the stuff that can't, old primal habits and stuff that just can't stay anymore. You know, it's a month to kind of let go. And that letting go, like I said, could be at a lot of different levels. So it, you know, it's maybe more difficult if it's something that's bigger. But it does feel like there's a way to sort of get yourself on track to the future that you would really like to have by getting rid of old ways of acting and reacting. And again, I think if you are going back, or if someone is coming back to you with an offer after kind of taking some time to think about it, I think that whoever is being kind of contacted for the second time may be a little bit slow to respond in a fully emotional way, and that seems healthy. So it seems like there needs to be a little bit more of just flow of information before the emotional part can engage fully. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for June, Scorpio. I hope that's helpful. Please do get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. My link for scheduling is down below. And my email is theivyleagueastrologer@gmail.com. Please note for scheduling that all the times are Pacific time. So please do the translation to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.